Welcome to Upside Down Influencer, where we talk about the things we see on social media and how we as Christ followers can do them differently. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. And today on the podcast, I had my friend Jessica Huffman to talk about how she and her husband navigated social media with their teenagers that are now adults. And as you know, I am very pro social media in a lot of ways, but I also very much recognize the dangers. I came to this conversation with genuine curiosity because this is going to be something that I'm going to have to navigate here in a few years. So whether you're in the throes of this right now or it's something that you're going to be having to deal with in the future, just like me, this conversation is important. And I think it's going to be just as relevant in a few years down the line. How she navigated social media with her teenagers. Here's my conversation with Jessica Huffman. Jessica, welcome to Upside Down Influencer.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
This is going to be so fun. I think this is going to be a conversation that a lot of people need. And I'm a little bit out of my element here because though I'm very passionate about doing social media differently as a Christ follower, I am a young parent. And not that you're old. That's not what I'm saying.
Of course not. No, I do not feel old.
Your children are older than my children. So I have not yet walked through this phase.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be so curious to hear everything that you have to say as a parent. Yeah. But before we jump in, give me like 30 seconds about you and life, family, etc.
I love it. Okay. My name is Jessica. I'm married to my husband, Jason, for 22 years.
Wow.
I know. Yes. I got married young. And I have two children. I have a 21-year-old son named Gabriel, and I have a 19-year-old daughter named Zoe. They are the absolute loves of my life. And we are in a beautiful new season where we are all like besties right now. I can honestly say that.
That's fun.
It is. It's really fun. I love it. They're both at home, both working full-time jobs. My son is studying online. My daughter just came back from studying abroad. And they both love Jesus with all of their heart, soul, mind, and strength.
Praise God.
Such a gift. They are both planted in a local church. We are all a part of the same church. My husband and I planted a church 9.5 years ago. One of the best and hardest decisions I have ever made. What a journey that has been.
Yes.
And when we actually planted the church, my kids were young. I mean, 10 years goes by really fast, yet it's a very formative time for my children at that season.
Yeah.
And so on the side, I started a social media and marketing company.
Oh.
Absolutely love it.
Okay.
It was a great way for me to keep
Hold
some
on
of the things.
second. We got the helicopter going over. Shakes the whole house when it happens. Like,
oh, it does. I can feel it.
like sometimes that light will go. Okay. Anyway, so you started the social media marketing company. Keep going.
Yeah, it started a social media marketing company as just another avenue for me to keep my skills. And there's a business side of things that I really, really love, the entrepreneurial side of things, creativity, ideas, concepts, execution. And I also really love social media. Like, I am one of the rare few that actually have a love relationship with social media. Some people have a love-hate relationship. I really have a love relationship with social media. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about that more. And so I was like, you know what? This is a talent that I have. And I found a lot of business owners did not enjoy social media, but knew it was here to stay. Was here to stay.
Yeah.
So I just solved a problem for these people. And I said, let me help you manage this and solve this problem. And it's been a really big blessing in this season. I've learned a lot too.
That's so good that you love it, because so many people will be like, oh, I want to start doing social media. And then they'll realize like, oh, this is still a job. Like, this is still
It's very much a job.
hard.
It's a grind.
And so I always tell people, I'm like, if you want to pursue social media, do it. That's great. But just know, like, you still have to love it, because if you don't, you're going to burn out just like any other job.
Very quickly. It is something you're always on for it. You're always posting. You're always engaging. You're always looking for the next trend. You're always pushing back on trends. You are always navigating the conversation of make me go viral. And you're like, that is not the goal, to go viral. Like, so it's really wonderful. It's been really, I think I love it so much because it's constantly evolving. And I really do love to learn and grow and adapt and change through the times. And right now, I'm the only one in my family who actually has a love relationship with social media. And so I'm very thankful for that.
Yes.
Very thankful.
Well, we're very aligned in that way, it sounds like. Wow. I'm so excited. Okay, so I really just want to jump right in. You have navigated social media with your teenagers.
Yes.
And I don't know how much you want to tell or how we want to go about this, but I would love to hear some of that journey, some of your story, and how you guys navigated this. Because the reality is, it's a social media world, and in some way, shape, or form, I think it's going to exist. It's going to change.
Always. Yes.
But I think in some way, shape, or form, it's going to exist. So I think this conversation will still be relevant in
Absolutely.
5 years.
Absolutely.
It just might have changed a little
Absolutely. It is, social media is here to stay. I think we all need to agree that social media is here to stay. The evolution of how social media will exist will continue to evolve.
Yeah.
Hence why AI is here. We're seeing so much AI go on across the board, the different platforms that are constantly being created and updated, the different technologies that are here. There's always something more to learn, and the goal for social media is for you and I to be social.
Yeah.
That is the goal. What we have lost sight of as a culture, especially in the faith-based community, is what is it actually teaching us? What are we learning from it? And how does it actually really line up with our beliefs, our core beliefs, what we read in the Word of God, and our relationship? So if our paramount value is to always put Jesus, God, His Word above every single thing, then we have to be able to filter everything, our worldview, what we see, what we're processing, what we're engaging with, through the lens of, what does God have to say about this? Like,
Amen.
what does His truth have to say about this? And how is it impacting me? Because everyone has a capacity for social media that's very different. And some people have a much smaller capacity for the social aspect of everything. But there are many that can do the doom scrolling, right? But don't engage. There are many that watch but never post, right?
Yep.
Everybody does a little bit. They engage with it some. And then there are people that are like, absolutely not. I'm not even going there. And then there are people that respect it, understand it, but pay somebody or empower somebody to run it for them.
Yeah.
So having teenagers, navigating teenagers at I would say the pinnacle of when things started taking off. So my son, 21, my daughter, 19, having a boy and a girl in the social media world, we knew it was going to impact them very differently because boys receive information and process information very different. They're visual creatures.
Correct.
And everything social media right now is mostly visual, unless you're listening to podcasts, unless you are just listening to audiobooks or something like that, which I would say is a very small portion of the social media world.
Yeah,
But
like what you see in the first few seconds really matters.
really matters. And then what happens after that. And so what we're doing is culture is presenting all of this information so quickly in a short amount of time in the most creative way possible to our kids, to the entire world, to our generation of children. And then based off of where they're at in their developmental stage and their environmental stage, family, broken family, present mom, present dad, absent mom, absent dad, struggling with anything, all of these factors, we take this information and we process it, and then we make big conclusions about our life. We see social media literally changing the landscape of politics. We see it changing the landscape of religion and faith and how people are engaging with the Bible and Jesus and the Word of God and their spiritual community. It's really fascinating to me, actually, on a statistical level, on a sociology level, on a psychology level. Seeing how this is all playing out is really fascinating. So as parents, for Jason and I, one of the things that we always made sure on a parental level is that we were always in alignment with any major parental decision for our children, which has to include social media. So parents, they have many things about, okay, what their kid is going to, what school their kid is going to go to, when they're going to start driving, what sports they're going to take. Like, as parents, we're very involved with a lot of these areas, but for some reason, many families will take a very organic or very out of sight, out of mind perspective when it comes to what will social media look like for my child?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people might just be like, well, they'll figure it out on their own.
Yes. They almost approach it like a friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My kid is going to meet this friend named TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and there's so many other more, but those are like the 3 most popular ones right now. Mm-hmm. And they'll figure it out. Mm. They might have some bad days, they might have some good days, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that perspective has really caused a lot of damage for a lot of children. So I knew that we could not take that approach. My husband and I had to be in alignment. And it's one of those things where we needed to have multiple conversations throughout different seasons of their lives and decide, what does social media look like for them? How will they have access to it? Where will they have access to it? And at what point does it change?
Okay, so I want to back up a little bit. So at what age were your children introduced to it?
So we, which is a great question, because we made mistakes from the get-go.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
We made mistakes from the get-go. We took on a little bit, we had good conversations, and then we introduced phones to our children.
Hold on, I think another helicopter's coming. You hear it?
Yes.
Let's see.
Is there like a helicopter-like thing?
It's because the base is right across the river.
That's right.
And sometimes it's not that bad. Sometimes I'll listen back on the audio and it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But sometimes it's a little distracting. So
I think that's a plane, or is that a helicopter?
No, it's a helicopter. I can tell by the...
So crazy.
I know.
How many times a day?
You know, I don't even notice it anymore, but I'll notice it when I'm doing this.
Recordings, yeah. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Okay, so let's go back. So I had asked when they got introduced to it, and then you said, well, you made mistakes along the way.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, that's what I want to hear.
Yes. So we made mistakes along the way. We made mistakes first and foremost by having a conversation about what we really wanted to see for our kids, the type of people that we wanted them to become, and then we handed them phones. And what I mean by that is the gap between what we really envision for our children as parents. Yeah, let me skip. The gap between what we envision for our children, and you know this, and what they will actually do can be very wide on a lot of things until, as parents, we close the gap.
Okay.
And so I will say this for every parent. The minute you put a phone in your child's hand, you have to be okay with yourself. And you have to accept the fact that your child will encounter inappropriate images and information that is not age appropriate, period. I do not care how many settings you have, safety guards around it. It is very much a dance between reactive and proactive parenting across the board. The minute you put a phone in your hands, I've seen people even say the minute you put your phone into your child's hands, they will probably see nudity within the first 30 days of their experience.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily coming from them. It is what is immediately placed into their world. Immediately. And even with an algorithm, like teaching an algorithm what you want it to show you and not show you, all it takes is one little thing in there, and that really flips the algorithm upside down for your kid. But the internet, the access to information, and the loopholes that kids are able to get around, we navigated it all. So when we put that phone in their hands, we realized, we set some ground rules. We had conversations with our children. We said, this is appropriate, this is not. We even had like a written contract. And we were like, this is what's acceptable behavior.
So you had good intentions going into it. You were like, hey, we're getting this phone, but like, we're going to do this thing right. That's what you were thinking going into it.
Yes. So naive.
Okay.
Like our kids, and you have to think this was probably, it was like 9, 10, 11 when we first started having these conversations about phones. And trust me, it's even earlier now. Some of the parents that I'll talk to, like some of their kids are talking about phones at like 7, 8 because of school, friends, peers, communication, tracking, all of it. And so when my kids started introducing it to the conversation and we started having it, we went in with great intentions. A contract, let's have a conversation. Let's throw a little like, hey, some serious stories in there so they can understand from the best case scenario to the worst case scenario, the responsibility, and then life happens.
Right.
And then the everyday thing happens. Then they're bored and they want to be on their phone. Then they're with their friends and their friends are on their phone, so then they're on their phone. Then it's the game that is fantastic, but has an instant messaging feature that gives you access to strangers.
And let's be honest, there are probably moments too where you were busy doing live too, and your kid probably was on their phone. And that's no fault. I mean, I shouldn't say no fault, but like, again, you had good intentions going with it, but life happens, and it was a way to keep your child busy.
100%.
Yeah.
iPads, phones, all of these devices. And we realized very quickly what type of information was being shared on these platforms. And you don't realize how impactful it is until your child is bringing up subjects that in your season of life, you're like, I wasn't talking about that till I was 18, 19, 20, 21. I remember it smacked us in the face hardcore when one of my kids asked me questions about a gynecology appointment because they found an influencer on TikTok that broke down everything that you would experience at your first OBGYN appointment. This was not a doctor. This was an influencer. And I was absolutely stunned that that was something that we were talking about. And it wasn't even age appropriate.
Yeah, because like at the correct age, that's not really a bad video to watch.
No.
But it's more like you weren't ready for that conversation yet.
I was not ready.
Yeah.
And then I immediately felt guilt because I'm like, I should have been the one to have that conversation with them. And I realized that this is the type of information. Now, and this is me having open and honest conversations with my children. And there were seasons, every kid goes through that moody, broody season where they're testing the boundaries with mom and dad. They are also questioning if mom and dad are, safe and trustworthy. And right, we're also growing as parents and learning as parents, and we've made mistakes along the way. And so navigating where your child is not going to bring things to you, or your teenager is not going to talk about things to you, but they're processing all of this information that's coming so rapidly from them. So when they brought that information to me and I said, did you hear about it or see it? That was my next question. Because social is also very visual.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
what's happening in that
what
video?
are you watching? Right? Like this, I'm trying not to be like disgusted because I'm like, what is going on? But I realized that this is the type of information and how quickly it's getting to them so fast. So that's when I knew we needed to take some step backs on social media. We really needed to figure out what the game plan was, and we had to look at it as less of this is a friend who has great intentions and our kid's just going to figure it out with him, and more of this is going to be an enemy that is going to try to tear my child down and possibly teach them things that we do not want them to learn, or they will spend their 20s, 30s, and 40s trying to unlearn based off of the lies that are communicated to them. And it's all very subconscious if you think about it. I mean, think about how beautiful women look right now online and so over-filtered, but also it is pushing this massive thing for women, for us to feel like we need to enhance everything because we are keeping this beauty standard that is so high because this is what we see. Skinnier, prettier, plumper,
not even wanting to age. Like, this is how you stay youthful and young.
Yes, right. And I'm fascinated by those videos, but take that message to a 12-year-old girl
who does not have the maturity that we do.
Yes, the frontal lobe is still developing.
Correct.
They are still learning about life. And now instead of learning about life in the safest environment imaginable, which should be mom and dad and the environment that mom and dad is choosing for them, it is literally thousands and millions of people, most of whom they do not know, will never have a relationship with, and never talk with ever. Not just friends, it's just these strangers, influencers, it's businesses, it's all of the things that are coming at our kids.
And it really stands out to me. I think you said this in your voice memo that in and now it makes way more sense. You're like, well, culture is raising our kids.
Yes, culture is raising, if we let it.
If we let it.
If we let, as parents, if we let culture raise our kids. And everything had to be age appropriate. So when we realized that some things were getting introduced that were not age appropriate, and there were multiple conversations I would have with my kids. I would say, listen, I'm glad you asked me. I just want you to know you don't have to think about those things until you're a little bit older. And even very politicized issues were being introduced first in a social realm. And here's how that happens. It happens so subtly. It happens with, and we do it as girls. We see something that's really interesting online in a reel or a Snapchat or a TikTok. And we're like, oh my goodness, I need to share that with so-and-so. And they share it through a DM, they share it through a text message, and then that person watches it. So now we are learning things through the quick share of a reel or a TikTok. That's how quickly we learn about something. So concepts, principles, ideas, pictures, everything was now being shared through a DM or a text message of something that was on social media.
Okay, so that's an interesting thought that I don't know if I've even considered. That so you could technically have certain blocks and stuff maybe on your. I mean, I don't want to say this if this is wrong, but can you have certain blocks and protections on your phone? But if somebody shares it to you, is it different? Like, how does that work?
Absolutely, it is different. So Apple, I'm a big Apple girl. So Apple is my favorite across the board device. I'm a Mac girl.
That's how I am too.
It's a creative thing. I think that's what it is.
Unless you're my husband and he's all the other directions.
Okay. Well, we won't judge him too harshly for that. But, and every one of their parental settings, every teenager knows a workaround.
Ooh, fascinating.
Every teenager knows a workaround. Even if your kid is so great and they're following all the rules, they know all the workarounds. If they are not following all the rules, right, and they're pushing every boundary, you better believe they know all the workarounds when it comes to parental settings. So what we had to do is we had to take it up another level. One of the things that we needed to do was invest into an app that could be downloaded on a phone, and it's called Bark, the Bark app.
I've heard of that.
And it is absolutely a game changer when it comes to overseeing what is happening in your child's life in the media world on their phone or any type of device. It sends you notifications in the broadest extent of the word across the board, mainly through text messaging. So I will say social media and text messaging is the two big areas that I think teenagers have the biggest challenge with. How they talk to each other, what they say to each other, what they're sending to each other. And then, of course, the social media platforms is then interwoven to all of it.
So does Bark send you messages, sends you, the parent, messages?
Yes.
If your child sees something and they shouldn't? How does that work?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. So when you download the app, you tell it that you're the parent and you sign up for an account. It's a monthly subscription. It's very affordable. I'd highly recommend every parent to have it on their child's device, especially if their child has any type of device. Even if they don't have social media, still have it on the device.
Okay. And it syncs to their social accounts?
And it syncs to everything in their world. And then what happens is there's alerts that are sent across the board, and you can set some parameters up. And then it also gives you a lot of parameters to think about, especially for parents who might be really new to this process. And so we would get a text message. So it gives us an alert that says bullying. And what happens is it gives you 3 to 4 text messages before and after the text message that's been alerted on their phone or flagged for bullying. So it gives you the ability to mark it with context. Some kids have fun banter back and forth. And so you're like, oh, that's just two buddies talking back and forth, and they're just smack talking to each other. But Bark reads it as bullying. But then maybe that same tone is happening over on somebody else's device, and it's actually somebody really being cruel to your child. And you can intervene, and you can see. It will flag for violence. It will flag for substance abuse. It will flag for depression, suicidal words. It will flag for every single thing imaginable. Nudity. It will flag for every single thing. And then you as the parent, you bring context to what you're seeing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, one step above that is a bark phone. And some parents need to go that route. And it's an Android phone, but you don't know it's a bark phone. It looks like a regular phone.
Oh,
and
cool.
you can set even more parameters up on it, which is like your child is not allowed to add a number without your approval in it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Dog. Cusco. He heard a car door shut.
He's like, is that for me?
Okay.
So with the bark phone and the bark app, I would encourage every parent to look into it as an option for their child. One of the rules that we had as a parent, and we had to change this, is we said no social media until 18.
Ooh. When did you make that rule? Because like you had said, you would make some mistakes at first. So
We sure did.
You had to take away something they already had access to.
And that was a battle. It was, so we had both of our kids were given the Instagram, and then Musical.ly was
Musical.ly before.
Musical.ly before
Yeah,
it was TikTok, right? And then it was what was coming through in the DMs from people. What was happening that we were most concerned about was not necessarily what they were doing, it was what was coming to them. And you can't raise other people's kids.
Right.
You cannot raise other people's kids. I am the type of mom where both of my kids would have to be like, Mom, you cannot say something to that parent. It is embarrassing. Because I would be like, I'm texting this mom, I'm texting this dad. And they're like, no, my God, no. You know, so it was so much was about that, what was coming through their DMs, what was coming at them on the social media that they did not have control over, or that we did not have control over. So one of the things that we realized.
I have a question before we continue, while I have the thought. I'm thinking about the bark phone and whatever. Because I only have little kids, I don't really know. I can't think of like the dynamic of a teenager. Did that feel invasive to the teenager? Not that because I don't know how to parent a teenager yet. I'm not there. Like when they got introduced to the bark app or the bark phone, like how often are you like, do they feel like you're giving them zero privacy, or how does it work without them feeling resentful towards you?
It's a really good question. So we had to navigate that. We negotiated a deal. So when it comes to having teenagers, you have to be a really good negotiator. And so we told our kids, if you want a phone, the bark app is a non-negotiable. And the other non-negotiable is they had to turn their phone in at 9 p.m. when they were in school, and it had to be turned in and plugged in next to our bedside. Because many things after bedtime, after the kids go to bed, after we went to bed, I do not think it's a good practice for parents to let their kids have their devices next to their bed at all. Because if they wake up and they're struggling to go back to sleep, or they can't go back to sleep, the first thing they reach for, it's not going to be a book. It's going to be their phone, right? And that in our motto too is not much good happens after midnight in our households. Not much good. I think anybody who's grown up,
maybe like 10.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes. We've all grown up realizing not a lot happens that's good after 12. Like we don't make a lot of good choices after midnight. Like we should just be in bed sleeping, right? That's such a mom thing to say. But because we are moms, because we are dads, we have to take that responsibility. So there was a lot of pushback at first. And immediately you feel like you're a bad parent. You immediately feel like you're a bad parent. You feel like you are ruining their lives. You feel like you are taking away every ounce of social connection and all of the things. And you have to fight that feeling. You have to fight that feeling.
Yeah, because I'm sure your teenager's like, well, now I'm not going to be able to talk to my friends. I'm going to be missing out, and I'm not going to be cool.
Yes, all of that. All of it. And I cannot tell you how many times I sobbed over that with my husband. And I said, I really feel like X, Y, and Z. Like I'm this. And he would have to remind me, our kids, we will never regret this later on in our kids' life. We will never regret delaying social media and some of these things until they're older. We will always regret it. And many parents that I talk to with kids that are really going through it when the social media world, bullying, certain things that they're addicted to, all of the above, the one thing that these parents say is, I should have fought harder with this battle. Because as parents, I think we know, but it's really just like anything. It's always implementing the standard and repeating it over and over and over. I mean, you're in the throes with babies. You know, it's about the little things, the daily. It's a grind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my son, you would think that he would learn the lesson after one thing,
No.
but he doesn't.
No.
All the time, sometimes my husband will be like, well, now he knows not to do that again. I'm like, no, I don't think he learned it yet.
Not yet. No.
I think I have to keep telling you.
It is a constant grind. And just when you think they have it,
Yeah.
then they don't have it. And then you're right back at the lesson again. But that is the hardship, but also the beauty of parenting is repeating it. And so we had to have those conversations with our kids. And we have to say, these are non-negotiables. If you want a phone, you're going to have the bar cap on it. You also have to turn your phone in at 9 p.m. every night, plugged in next to our bedside. Oh my God, I'm not going to get on it. We understand that. But for everybody's safety, for everybody's positivity, mental well-being, everything is going to go by our bedside. The other non-negotiable is once we introduced social media, we had to say, guys, we're getting everybody off of it. And here's why. It was a big battle. And finally they agreed and it was a win. But I have to tell you this, we had to look at this as a battle. This was not a walk in the park. This was not a joyride. This was not the highlight of my life. This was not the most exciting and wonderful time. And I can't believe it. I had the best memories. No, that was not it. That was other conversations that I had with my kids. That was saved for processing through things. It was a battle. And it was one that my husband and I were determined to really win. And I say win in the sense of we're mom and dad. This is a parent-led household. We are paying for these devices. If you want them, this is what is expected of this device. If you do not want to respect those guidelines, you need to buy your own phone and you need to pay for your own membership. Now listen, no 12-year-old can buy a $400, $500 phone, right? Like they can't. They think they can because they're so upset, but they really can't. But those were the non-negotiables.
Now, how long would you say the transition of having to give their phones to you at night, these new things that you implemented, how long until they accepted that as the new normal? And what did success look like for you eventually?
Yeah, that's good. So I will say that the new normal, like where they really owned it and accepted it, probably took a good solid 3 to 6 months of repetition.
I think people need to really hear that.
Yes.
That this is not like when I potty trained my toddler in 3 days. Like this is
not like 3 steps to no social media. Like it was literally a 3-6 month process. And that's with ups and downs. Yes. That is with them pushing boundaries. That is with them breaking boundaries and us having a sit down conversation. That is agreeing to what are the consequences if they do not hold their end of the bargain. Yeah. And what does that look like? Is it a no phone? Is it a no this? Is it a no that? And really having those conversations. So when I say it's a grind and a battle, that's what I'm talking about. Because as parents, sometimes we want it to be easy. And when you're raising, let me encourage you with this. What you're experiencing now, just the building a routine of your kids and really implementing the basics over and over and over and over again is a building block for the next season of the teenage years. Because what happens is the teenage years, It is less about the physicality of you recovering in this, of the no sleep, of the, the constant needs that your kids have. It is more of an emotional capacity that happens where you are now not just telling your child to go to bed and thinking that a snack and nap time is going to fix it. It is more about, I need to help you understand. And then they don't like it. And then they push back on it. And then they say, I hate it. I don't want to do it. And you're like, well, unfortunately, we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
And you feel like a terrible person and you feel like you're ruining their life and you feel like they're invading their privacy and all of the above. But at 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16, let's be real.
Yeah.
What should a child, a teenager, be hiding from a parent that a parent shouldn't really have some type of look into?
Correct. Yeah.
In your home. And if that device is in your home and in your child's life, we should say, I love you enough that I need to know about this. Now, every parent's going to process things a little bit differently when it comes to the conversations you're having, the different allowances for different things in different seasons. But as parents, we need to know. We cannot turn a blind eye, stick our head in the sand like an ostrich and say, I hope they turn out okay. We're parents.
Yeah.
These are our kids. We get one shot. One shot. And so we get to decide, is social media and culture, or is it going to be mom and dad, Jesus, the truth of God's word? And guess what?
Yeah,
it's never going to just be, your kids are not introduced to Jesus at 12. They're introduced to Jesus through mom and dad. That's where they learn about mom and dad. That's where they learn about the word of God. That's where they learn about what Jesus has to say for them. That's where they learn about the local church. It's through mom and dad. They learn about their relationship with God through mom and dad.
Well, that's great. That's really good. I want to pause you there for a second because my thought is it can be really easy for people to hear this though and go, well, I don't want to just keep telling my kid like, no. And it just, setting all the guardrails and all the things, because we all know that just like with our own walks with the Lord, if we just look at the Bible as a list of no's, then our heart is never going to be transformed in all things. So what I think I hear you saying is, sure, you can implement the rules and do all these things, but there's a deeper thing happening here. We need to teach our kids how to practice discernment in their own life. You need to raise them up in the word, because you can put all the rules and all the regulations on them. But if you are not teaching them from their core why these things are not good for them, why they're leading to destruction, they're ultimately not going to leave changed and just go right back. As soon as they get their phone back and they're off into the world, they're just going to go right back to those old habits. So can you talk about that piece a little bit and how, yes, you did the rules and the regulations and had the oversight, but what were you teaching inside your home so that now as they are young adults, that they're actually walking into things with a healthier mindset? Now, you might hear that question and go, well, I don't have it perfect and my kids obviously are still learning.
Yes.
But what were you teaching inside your home about the Lord in order for them to graduate, so to speak, and to be trusted with these devices and them having a healthier mindset and, walking with the Lord?
So there's two sides to it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to parenting just in general, one of the things that I've had to learn is that parenting is a process of implementing healthy patterns and boundaries that you want your child to adopt and embrace. Just like with potty training is a very practical one. You're teaching your child how to use the restroom.
Yeah.
Right? You don't think of it in that way, but you get that. We get to do that. We get to teach our kids that. Yeah. We're the ones teaching them how to wash their hands and hygiene. So we're teaching them how to do things, how to approach life. But then we're also teaching them that there are things that are coming at them that are hard, heavy, overwhelming, difficult. And as a child who's developing, and people who are much smarter than me and who have the degrees and all of the training when it comes to early childhood development and all of the above, the more you expose a kid early on to something, the more desensitized they come to it. Yeah. And that speaks to all areas. If a child is so used to hearing a certain language, of the way, a tone somebody talks to them at a very early age, when they move into young adulthood, that's going to be a very normal thing for them. And so their natural discernment is going to be, this is normal. What's wrong with it? Until later down the road, something harms them and the dots connect, hopefully the dots connect, that maybe this tone or the way that this person is speaking to me or the way I'm speaking to somebody is actually harmful. So then they have to relearn how to do something. So many times when it comes to childhood and raising our children, it's less about exposing them to the hard things and making sure that they have the right approach to it, and more about exposing them to the really great habits of life and the really wonderful things that you want them to grasp and learn at age-appropriate things. And then as they get introduced to the harder things, the evil things, the terrible things, the destructive things, there's something on the inside of them, right? Discernment, the Holy Spirit, people call it gut. They're like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't sound good. This doesn't feel, and that is a natural progression that we have. So it's less about this is bad, 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 this is bad. Because let's look at it a different way.
It's like, well, what I hear you saying is, you also got to show them why God's way is better. Why
100%.
this other thing is better. Because if
100%.
they don't see the other thing as actually the healthier, better thing, why would they ever choose it?
Yes, and the impact and the joy of it.
Yes.
And so for my kids, when they got a little bit older, they turned 18, and then they got on a platform of social media, they would show me something and I'd be like, what do you think about that? And they were like, this feels really icky. And I'm like, it is.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so those so it was almost like they were like, I haven't been so exposed to this, so I'm not desensitized to this, but now I'm seeing it. And why does it make me feel a certain way? And then
I love that they would bring it to you too.
Yes. And now they're looking inside and they're realizing there's something that I'm feeling is off. This is also a little bit about emotional intelligence as well, right? Yeah. Like there's like, this feels a little off. This feels a little disingenuous. This feels a little icky. This feels a little whatever it is. And they themselves are feeling that and they're realizing something is off here. And so now they're coming to those own conclusions. Now they're realizing, and this is less about being a sheltered kid and not having this or not having that. And it's more about, why does a child need access to millions and millions of people and strangers and platforms and thoughts and thinkings that will do more damage than good in their life, right? And in our approach is as small as we could keep things. So then that way, when things were introduced, it was introduced in a safe environment where mom and dad could say, let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And they would come to me and they would say, I saw this, or I did that. And I say, well, that's not accurate. Like all sorts of things, anatomical things, medical things, sexual things, that now when they were seeing something or their friends were talking about something, and I could say, you know what, that's actually not accurate. And let me tell you why that's not accurate. So now I can have those conversations with him. But information is moving so quickly to our children. And we are the gatekeepers of our kids' souls. Yeah. We are the gatekeepers of their minds. We are the gatekeepers. Social media will not raise my child. Yeah. I didn't I'm not letting Meta or Snapchat raise my kid. Yeah. I'm raising my kid.
How would you encourage the parent that is maybe afraid of being disliked by their child because of the new implementations they're having to do?
Yeah. I will say it gets easier being disliked by your kid. I went through a season where I was enemy number one with my teenager, and I could not. Now, that part, being disliked by your teenager, exposes more insecurities in you as a parent than anything else. I don't know any teenager that didn't probably not like their parents at some point because of the rules or implementation, especially if they had parents that were involved in their life.
Yeah.
Not one teenager, myself included. I was like, I remember my parents grounded me and I was so mad. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Right? We look back on it and we're like, thank you. I was an idiot.
Yeah.
And we look back on that. I will say it exposed more in me about, do I really care about being liked by my kid? Or do I care about raising a healthy, safe child?
Yeah.
And I will say that pain, I wrestled with that pain so many times on so many different levels because it exposed insecurity inside of me that I had to take to the Lord. And I would have to tell my kids, listen, I understand that you don't like this. I understand that you're mad at me. And I could never take that out on my child like that. And I made mistakes there where I was like, they're mad at me and they're angry with me. And then I'd get mad at them and then they'd get mad at me. And it's like, it escalates, right? And I had to really, really practice my own emotional intelligence and realizing my kid is very upset at me and angry with me and they don't want to talk to me and they don't want to have anything to do with me. And I had to tell myself, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I love them. I'm not moving. I will not punish them for saying that to me. I will not reject them because they've said that to me. I will not treat them differently because they've said that to me. I will stand here and I will take a few shots on the chin, and in 24 hours, it will probably look different. And it always did.
Yeah.
A good night's sleep, we always had a different kid the next day. I think all of us, we have a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Trust me. I know right now. Oh, shoot. I had a really good question. Oh, yeah. Well, but ultimately, you are pro social media.
Oh, I love it.
And yeah, you love social media.
I love social media.
How do you think we can be preparing our kids to, because this whole podcast, my whole heart for this is to do social media differently.
Yes.
How do you feel like you've prepared them to enter now the world? Because they're 19 and 21.
Yes.
So now they are in it.
Yes, they're in it.
How do you feel like you've prepared them now to be on social media and maybe do it differently than the world? Because you've taken the steps, you've done the whole thing, and now your kids are adults.
Yes.
What does that look like in their life now?
So again, if we have any type of financial investment or commitment to any type of device or subscription that they have access to, we still have agreements now around, and it's less about parental rules, and it's more about, this is an agreement that we have.
So even now.
So if they're going to be in our home, and if they're using any devices or any subscriptions that we have.
Because they are living with you.
Yes.
Okay.
They're currently living with us at the moment. And so one of the, with 18, when you turn 18, all parental settings disappear because technically you're an adult. So legally, Apple and Bark and all of these other settings have to stop doing what they're there to do unless it's some type of like accountability thing. And there's some good apps out there for accountability. But it ceases to exist because now it's a legal thing. They're 18. It's considered like stalking unless they've agreed to it. So one of the things that we've asked of our children is that they represent our family and their relationship with God well online.
Love that.
And
how do they know if they are doing that?
They learn by mom and dad. They truly do. Now my husband, everybody has accounts, but my husband and my son are completely inactive on social media. Literally, like completely inactive.
So your son doesn't care.
Has no desire.
That's nice.
For a boy, it's actually a really big gift.
It is.
And has no desire. Anytime he's ever jumped on there, he's like, don't like it, don't even want to see it, don't even want to deal with it. And I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. There's no...
I think my pastor's, he's talked about his son is the same way.
Yeah, like there's like no desire. And I think for boys, that is a gift. If that can be something where we've landed. So for us, that was a huge win when Gabe was like, I can have it, but I don't want it. And he says, if you were to ask him why, he would say, I don't find any value or good from it. That is where he's landed from it. He finds no value or good. He will be the type of person that probably whatever he moves through in life, he will either have somebody that does the social media for whatever he's a part of,
Yeah.
or he'll be with somebody that will social media with him. So he
sees the value in social media and understands why it might be
Yes.
needed in the future, but he might be the person that opts to hire somebody to run it for him, kind of thing.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that is him. And that is the same way with my husband. He's the exact same way. He's like, I don't like it. In fact, for a really funny story, he jumped on Facebook one time about a year ago, and he was like, I think I'm gonna get back in there and try to catch up with some friends and family members. And he came over to me. He brought the phone over to me. He goes, how do I stop seeing everybody's news feed? And I said, baby, it's Facebook. Like, that is what you do. You see everybody's news feed. And we had a great laugh. And he's like, I think I'm going to get back off of it. And that's where he's landed with it, which I think is fantastic. So Zoe, my daughter, and I, we love social media. But what's so beautiful about Zoelle now is that she's adopted the mentality of, I want to represent my relationship with Jesus online and in person, and I want it to be the same. That whoever's meeting me in person, whatever they're seeing me post online, they're going to get the same person. Same person.
Yeah.
And then she's also really at a great place in her life where she's like, you know what? I think I need to take a step back and pause on social, or take a break or a fast. And she does that, and she does that willingly, and she does that really, really, really often. And she knows when social media might be crossing a boundary for her in her heart or her mind. And I think I can say to myself as a woman, that's when we've done a good job.
Amen.
When we as women can say, this is crossing an emotional boundary for me and I need to pause on it, and we pause on it. And we're not this pendulum that swings back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But we're like, you know what? I need to pause on it, and I just need to rest, give it a rest for a season.
I go through that.
Everybody does. Everybody should probably. A palate cleanse, a fast, whatever it is. And so she's now at that place where she's doing that, and I'm incredibly proud of her. And when she says
I'm proud of her, and I don't even know her.
And when she says, she's like, Mom, I'm going to do a social media break. I'm like, baby, do it. I love it. I love it. It's like, it'll always be there for you. And here's the thing, like when people jump off of it, they're like, I didn't miss anything. They really don't feel like they missed anything.
Yeah. If anything, I mean, I don't feel like you miss anything. I think there's this part of you that's more is like, should I be contributing right now in some way?
Yes. But you feel the pressure.
Yeah. But I think sometimes you need that time to download from the Holy Spirit in order to recontribute again anyway.
Yes. And it's a great way to say, what type of relationships am I building? Are they all in a digital sphere? Or do I have really good real life relationships? Am I picking up and doom scrolling because I'm really sad and I need somebody to talk to, or what I see makes me feel better about my situation? Or do I have good people in my life, community in my life, to where I can actually talk to them and share with them and they can challenge me? I think that's the gap that this next generation is going to experience at a much faster rate than we ever experienced it. Because you and me were kind of like on the beginning cusps of everything when it just
That's true.
took off. I was 19 when I got my first cell phone. 19. And now these kids are 7, 8, 9 having to deal with this question of, should my kid or should they have a cell phone? Because so many people are embracing that device world, that communication world, all of the above. But I think if we can say, this is having a really negative impact in my life right now, and I'm going to pause, then we know we've won the battle with social media. We know that we can see something and know that it's bad, wrong, negative,
Yeah.
and either scroll right past it and make sure it has no impact in our life, Or we can pause on it, or we can say, I'm not going to follow that, or I'm not going to engage with that. We can't be keyboard warriors. We can't like stand up for our beliefs just on social media. Like we have to learn how to live real life. We have to live that life.
I feel like I have so many questions, but I don't want to go for too much longer because we're just about out of time. Try to answer this quickly. How do you try to lead by example in this area?
So for me, I show up online in a very positive and encouraging space. I have fallen into the traps of writing out a text message or something where I've later looked back on it and been like, oh, it came maybe from...
And knowing your kids might see it too.
Yeah, knowing my kids might see it, all of the above. And I've deleted things. I have taken things down. I have typed and not posted, all of the above. But I try to tell myself, if I can lead people to the hope and encouragement of Jesus in some form or fashion, then I know I've done my job well. If I can lead people to think clear, to work harder, to rise above, to keep moving forward, to stay strong, to not give up, to forgive. If I can encourage people on some of those realms to laugh, to have fun, to forgive, then I know I've done well. And my algorithm is an incredible reflection of who I am in that season. And it's really true. The minute you click on something that's real, like lots of vitriol, lots of anger, lots of whatever, it's all of a sudden you're inundated. Like all of it. And so I can read stuff like that and I can think about it, but I always really want to make sure that it is showing up from a place of positivity and hope and encouragement. And I think when I lead by example in that way, it really shows my kids that if you are going to be online, this is the space that we're going to create. This is who we're going to be online.
Well, that kind of answers my final question for you. What does it mean to you to be an upside down influencer?
Oh, such a great question. Do we have like 3 more hours?
I wish.
I know. I would say remembering that we're Christ followers first. We're Jesus followers first. And if we were to lose all of our social media platforms like today, like gone, like who would we be? Would we still talk the same way? Would we still be the same person? Would we still act the same way? Would we still engage in people's lives the same way? Who would we be? And can we use this space for good? Yeah. Can we take a piece of the pie of the corner and constantly remind people that God has an amazing plan for them, and this is a tool and a resource, and who we are as stewards. We're just stewards over this tool and this resource, and let's be really good at it.
Amen. That is a great answer, and that is really the heart behind what I'm doing here.
I love it.
Well, Jess, this was amazing. Where can people follow along with you?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Follow me on Instagram. So I'm at Jessica Huffman, but my last name Huffman has 3 F's in it on Instagram, which is really weird. I didn't realize that. I didn't either. I literally did not notice that until 2 years ago. Yes, it's crazy. So I'm Jessica Huffman. And then I'm on Facebook as well. I think my Facebook name, y'all are gonna laugh, is like J Hizzle Sizzle. But if you look up Jessica Huffman, you'll find me on there.
That's definitely millennial.
All right,
we're like the Hizzle Sizzle.
Oh my goodness, I'm like
generation.
showing my age. Like I'm that elder millennial. I'm like literally showing my age on that. But yeah,
that's amazing.
Come follow with me. I would love questions. If anybody wants support, offer, hope, non-judgment. If anybody's going through something that's really terrible, I'm here to help them and guide them. I will always challenge parents to do the hard thing and the right thing. That's my stance on it. And but I'm here to offer some hope, resources, links, anything like that. I'm a part of a Facebook group, not mine, called Parenting in a Tech World. It's fascinating. I've learned a lot from it, and I think a lot of parents could learn from it as well.
So cool. Well, this was great.
Thank
You had
you.
so many wonderful things to say, and I just feel like I could have asked you 1,000 more questions. So I'm sure there'll be maybe a part 2 in the future, and
Let's
we
do
could
it.
talk about more. All right, Jess.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening. To follow along with us and to hear about other things that we're doing, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube.